I got a question from my friend Aubrey. He says, I want to do a one-on-one video and audio interview at a retreat that he's going to. He wants a minimalist interview setup, and he kind of thought about having 2 or 3 iPhones, some lav mics, and then recording it and then sending it over to an editor. So his main idea with the multiple iPhones is to have multiple angles. So I did clarify that, but I keyed in on the minimalist setup, and that is what I prefer personally. He's spot on with a couple things, and I'll sort of break down the minimalist setup and then why you may want to have multiple angles or not. So let me show you this list of products here. So this is an Amazon link. It is my affiliate links over here, but essentially it's some of the products that I'm going to point you towards. So I do use an iPhone typically to do remote recording these days, but any smartphone will probably do. Nowadays, the video quality is just excellent. But one of the big things for YouTube and of course for an audio interview is the actual audio, and to make sure it sounds really, really good. If the audio is bad, people are not going to tolerate it. But if the video isn't great, like maybe the lighting isn't great or something like that, it's probably going to be okay as long as they could hear you okay. The two versions of a lav mic that I have here, they're Bluetooth, and DJI is a great company. You probably know them from their action cameras and other stuff, but they do all audio video kind of stuff like this. And it's sort of a premium brand. Newer is a kind of a middle of the road brand. So what happens if you go over to Amazon, you look for lav mics, you'll probably find some really cheap ones for like $20, and then you'll find more expensive ones for $300 or $400 or $500 or something like that. But usually if you go sort of middle of the road, you're going to be okay. Newer and DJI are fantastic. Have a look, see if one of them looks better than the other, or if you're like, I know DJI, I'm going to get one of those. But I have a bunch of newer products myself. The other thing is the tripod. So I do have a GorillaPod. I think the one that I have here is sort of the higher end version. It might be the 5K version, not the 3K version that I'm showing here, but it just depends on what you need. So I have a bunch of heavy lenses and cameras and stuff. So I needed something a little bigger, but if you're just putting your iPhone on there, then the smaller version will be just fine. I also have this Manfrotto iPhone, or I guess smartphone sort of clamp attachment. And it's a great way to hold the phone really well. And you don't have to worry about it. I also usually get like an extra little plate that mounts on your GorillaPod. And that way I could have like different things attached to it, and I don't have to unthread it over and over again. So those are kind of the main things that you actually need. You want to have your phone to be steady, whatever you're recording with. And the GorillaPods are great for that. They're not ideal in all situations, but it's a compromise, right? It does a good job most of the time. The other thing that Aubrey asked about was having like the multiple angles. And I have a nice studio here in my basement, and I actually have the ability to use multiple angles and have a wide shot. I could have another camera over here and do a tight shot and all this stuff. But overall, like, people don't really care that much. It might be slightly more interesting, but if you're just getting started, just get that minimal setup up. You can easily make it more complicated in the future and get more phones and more cameras and all that stuff. And I've actually had recommendations, like not real recommendations as commenters saying, hey, you know what? If you want to improve your videos, if you want to improve the production quality, you need to get extra camera angles, Doug. And I've been doing YouTube for a decent amount of time, and I know that most people won't care. You can find examples of people with really high production value with multiple cameras and an actual producer and like a, director of photography in here, like getting everything just right. It really doesn't matter that much. And you can go find examples that disprove or prove whatever point you're trying to make. But as long as your audio is pretty good, people are probably going to be okay with it. And I've looked at the possibility, because again, I can get different cameras and I can switch it around. But when you start editing it, it takes forever. And even if you don't edit it yourself, when you add multiple angles in there, it's going to take much longer for anyone to edit that, even with the AI tools out there that can make it a little bit easier. So I would say keep that minimalist setup. It'll be much easier to record. There's less technical issues. You'll be less stressed out when you're doing those interviews. And when the time is right, if you do want to have multiple angles because, you get something out of it, you think it is helping the production value, you think it is making the story more meaningful, then you can definitely add those other cameras in there. And once you kind of master the minimalist setup, it'll be a little bit easier for you to set up another camera over there, hit record again, and it'll be less stressful. But the last thing you want when you're doing a recording and you have your notes and you're like, okay, I need to make sure I go through this properly. And then you end up sort of stressed out. You're like, I got to get this camera over here. And then the battery dies on that one. And if you just have the one, it's going to be much simpler. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment and let me know what you're confused on, and maybe I'll make a video on it. So thanks a lot. The link is in the description if you want to check out the few items that I've listed here.